Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I want to thank all of my new subscribers on TikTok and on YouTube. And I want to thank you all, those who take the time to comment on my video, because it causes my videos, even if you said a negative comment, it causes traction um, and activity on my videos. So thank you for commenting. But I do ask that if you do comment, to be kind to me and be kind to others who are commenting. That being said, a few years back, there was a dust storm that swept across America. And I walked out to the fence on my property there in Haskell, Oklahoma, and I immediately thought of some lyrics for a song. And in the lyrics towards the end, I say something to the effect that we'll drink Coca-Cola under blood red skies. And I know some people probably didn't understand why I said that, but today I'm going to delve into some nasty history with the Coca-Cola company. As always, I ask that you like, share, and comment on this video, okay? Coca-Cola had established a presence in Germany prior to WW2. Ray Powers, an American expatriate, had started bottling Coca-Cola in Germany in 1929. During the first 4 years of the business, Coca-Cola sales skyrocketed from just under 6,000 cases to 100,000 in 1933. In 1933, that the same year that Hitler, that man with the mustache, came to power, a German named Max Kite, is Keith, but it says it's pronounced Kite, went to work for Coca-Cola GmbH. I think that's supposed to be German bottling houses or something like that. But anyway, it's GmbH. And soon Woodruff gave Kite full control of bottling operations in Germany. Kite was apparently an ambitious man with a strong work ethic who was determined to increase Coke sales. There were several obstacles that had to be overcome. For starters, non-alcoholic beverages were considered a syrupy concoction for children and were not popular among German adults who preferred beer. There was also a great deal of anti-American sentiment in Germany in the years prior to WW2. And so the situation was not conducive to the high-profile marketing of American brands. Yet, Coca-Cola learned to combine its interests with those of Germany's Nazi rulers after 1933 in an overall harmonic symbiosis, and thus even managed to the seemingly impossible task of surviving the war intact as an American-owned company. Perhaps Coca-Cola's survival throughout the war is not surprising. However, in light of how deeply entrenched it was in Germany by the time the war broke out, is kind of interesting. Ironically, it seems that Coca-Cola survived and prospered in Germany by disassociating itself from its American roots. While at home Coca-Cola was the all-American drink, Kite's strategy in Germany before and during World War II was to market Coke as a German drink, appealing to industrial workers to mock Duck mal pause. Come on, take a break. 1 year after 1933, Coke's output had already more than doubled to 234,000 cases. It had been suggested that Coke's success was directly related to the striking parallels between Coca-Cola GmbH and the nation at large. Mustache Man was a proponent of American mass consumption and welcomed America's efficient methods of production, although he was anti-American in all other respects. Interesting enough, Kite's looks and personality have been compared to those of Mustache Man, and Kite's enthusiasm for Coke was seen by some of his employees who were often overworked as evidence of his fanatical tendencies. It seems that company and government interest overlapped. The N-word regarded mass production and mass consumption as crucial building blocks of their new society, and they must have been impressed by Coca-Cola's modern means of producing a uniform product. Additionally, Coke's advertising strategies reflected values central to the Nationalist Socialist Society. Kite supplied Coca-Cola for the athletes and visitors at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, where Mustache Man was the proud host to the nations of the world and where Woodruff was a guest. An abundance of Coke's advertising supported the Third Reich. Kite zeroed in on special events as Woodruff had done in America to further Coke's image, not as an American drink this time, but as a German drink in the N-word Nazi, I said that word, Germany. For example, Coca-Cola appeared at Mustache Man's youth rallies as Coca-Cola trucks accompanied the marchers, hoping to capture the next generation. That sounds familiar. In 1937, at a working people exhibit displaying the accomplishments of the German worker during the first 5 years of Mustache Man's rule, Coca-Cola set up a miniature bottling plant with a miniature train carting Kinder beneath it, at the very center of the fair, adjacent to the propaganda office. In March of 1938, when Mustache Man's troops went into Austria, Kite convened the annual concessionaire convention with his workers to continue their march to success. The ceremony ended with a Sieg Heil to Mustache Man. In April of 1939, at the 10th anniversary of the German Coca-Cola business, Kite gloated that the past year had been historic because Mustache Man had annexed Austria and Sudetenland. Yet the spread of Coca-Cola during 1938 was a close second. This strategy of direct association with the N-word leaders and of lending support to events propagandized by N-word ideology sent a powerful message to the German consumers and government by signaling that Coca-Cola was on Germany's side. Does that sound familiar, though? The getting the people all involved and the nationalism and just touting the values of that country over other countries. That does sound familiar to me. The show of support for N-words was perhaps an aggressive advertising technique designed to combat slander against the company. In 1936, Herr Flash, who manufactured an imitation drink called Africola, began circulating flyers depicting Coca-Cola bottle caps from the U.S. with Hebrew inscriptions. Although the inscriptions were nothing but an indication that Coke was kosher, the flyers claimed to prove that Coca-Cola was a Jewish company. Sales plummeted, and the N-word party headquarters canceled their orders. Kite denounced the associations. The Stormer, the official N-word publication, renowned for its vicious attacks against people of Hebrew nationality, said all of these things. And Coke was able to survive the fiasco probably through the aggressive marketing techniques described above. Again, ironically, the Coke bottles in question pronounced that they were kosher to appeal to the American Jewish population at home. Yet here was Keith, Kite, denying that Coca-Cola was a Jewish company, because to be a, company would be a terrible thing. I wonder how many times I'm going to ding YouTube's little radar with all these words. Coca-Cola faced problems in Germany, problems that the company dealt with through behind-the-scenes political maneuvering. In 1936, Hermann Göring, H-Mann's designated successor, introduced a 4-year plan which restricted imports to a bare minimum in order to make Germany self-sufficient and ready for war. Although Coca-Cola tried hard to convince Göring that it really was a German business that deserved government support, it says in parentheses, it certainly conducted itself as a German business, Göring wouldn't budge. The supply of the U.S. concentrate to Germany seemed doomed until Robert Woodruff pulled his magic strings. See, that's the thing about the concentrate being imported, and that's why we have different flavors, as I'll get into in a bit. Woodruff used his New York banking connections to influence Göring to permit the importation of Coca-Cola concentrate. It has been suggested that the company may have offered a bribe to Göring to secure the necessary import license. In order to reduce the imports to a minimum, Kite began making his own concentrate so that he needed only merchandise number 5 and 7X comprising the secret formula from America. Woodruff at the time apparently toyed with the idea of producing even these ingredients inside N-word Germany if war broke out, but he finally abandoned the plan as impractical. This is the same man who pushed the image of Coca-Cola as the American patriotic drink. The same man who, in a show of patriotism, swore that all U.S. soldiers would have Coca-Cola wherever they went. Woodruff had obviously anticipated the war when he considered the possibility of making the ingredients in Germany, and clearly had no qualms about providing Coca-Cola to both Germans and Americans. Yet by perpetuating the image of Coca-Cola as a symbol of freedom and democracy grounded in America, Woodruff should have felt more of an obligation to be true to the image he had created. If Coca-Cola had not done business in inward Germany, undoubtedly profits would have been lost, but surely a company that prides itself on its image should not abandon its image simply to turn a profit. Well, we know how that works, right? It is interesting to note that in 1939, when Hitler's troops rolled into Poland and England and France finally declared war, Kite, fearing that his supply of concentrate would be shut off by the exigencies of war, invented Fanta as an alternative drink to see the company through the war. Fanta is still a brand of the Coca-Cola Company in wide circulation today around the world. What many may not know is that its origins are inward in nature. They came from the inward Germany. It is not surprising then that Coca-Cola survived the war, since Coca-Cola was part of the inward state. The company went well beyond mere complicity to outright endorsement of the regime in some instances, as the examples above demonstrate. Strangely enough, it seems that at the time Americans were not aware of Coca-Cola's activities in Germany and so did not appreciate the contradictions inherent in Coca-Cola's advertising during WW2. However, in the years to come, people would question the image of Coke as a symbol of goodness both in the U.S. and in countries abroad. And I mentioned that bit about the Fanta, how the syrupy mixture was kind of stopped the flow of it during that time. And that same situation has resulted in other drinks across the world to be created. So here's some interesting facts that I came up with. Due to the war in Ukraine, Russian bottler Ochakovo began serving some drinks called Cool Cola, Fancy Cola, and Street to mimic Cola, Fanta, and Sprite. Many other American brands are experiencing a similar fate across the world. There's one brand called Thumbs Up, there's no B in it, Thumbs Up, in India, and it's a brand of soda introduced when Coca-Cola withdrew from the country in 1977. When Coca-Cola returned, they bought the rights to Thumbs Up, but the Indian people love the flavor of the Thumbs Up more than they do classic Coke. And so that's the one place where Coke is not the leading beverage. They say that the Thumbs Up is a more spicy beverage. Bet it would go good with some alcohol. As a corporate lobbyist, Coca-Cola can manipulate legislators when it comes to health studies or taxes aimed at drink makers. In other words, they can manipulate what you hear about the benefits or harm associated with drinking soda. However, the brands Nestle and Coca-Cola lie and maneuver around the fact that their corporations are the worst polluters in the world and they have the worst carbon footprint. They face many lawsuits for deceptive marketing practices and sustainability claims in a scheme called greenwashing. Like I said, a lot of this stuff that you hear as far as the green energy and all that, all it is a way to stroke people's feelings and make them believe that they're doing something when all they're really doing is redirecting everything to another money making scheme that they have going on. But anyway, I noticed a lot of the Coca-Cola commercials over the years were more, the coloring and the way they present themselves was more like propaganda tools. And so that's what piqued my interest. And then, like I said, I just, I don't know. I think that these companies that lobby and do all of these things, there ought to be a stop to the lobbying, I guess, is just to put it more bluntly. But anyway, after years of drinking, and I can't drink a Coca-Cola without feeling like it needs some alcohol in it. And, for me, that was not a good thing. So, anyway, I don't drink Coca-Cola. I drink root beer now. And so, anyway, and I like just Sprite, ginger ale, stuff like that. But I thought it was interesting to bring this information to y'all. I didn't know if you all knew this stuff or not. Hope you got something out of it. Sorry if I blundered a few of the words, but I love you all, and I'll talk to you later. The CIA wrote all my songs, and then I found out that I'd been cloned. Life on this planet is pretty hard. Feels like I'm living on frickin' Mars.